Hi, everybody. It's Miss Rose. Let's go over the week 30 quiz so that you can ace this retake. So for number 1 and 2, I'm going to do my RDCA thing. And for number 1, what was given was the circumference. So best thing to find first when you know the circumference is just take the pi off of it, and that gives you the diameter. Then half of the diameter is the radius. And then finally, the one that always gives people the most trouble is the area. So make sure that you do radius squared pi, 14 squared pi. 14 squared is 196. So 196 pi was the answer for that one. I think number 1 mistake was a lot of people just left off the pi for the area. They figured out the correct radius, they squared it, and they forgot to put the pi on it. So let's try to do the same thing for number 2, RDCA. This time it's the area that's given. So remember, area is radius squared pi. So that means the radius squared is 81. So if you square root the 81, that'll tell you what the radius is. So it's 9. And then once you know the radius, the diameter, the radius is halfway across, diameter is all the way across, so you can just double the 9. 9 and 9 is 18. And then once you know the diameter and you're trying to find the circumference, it's just diameter pi. Then for number 3, it gets more complicated, but we're still going to start out that same way. We're still going to do RDCA. So we're going to use this for both parts. Let's do radius of 12. So the diameter all the way across would be 24 because that's 12 and 12. Circumference is 24 pi. And then area is radius squared pi. 12 squared is 144. So the area is 144. Don't forget the pi. All right. Part A is asking for the area of the sector. So remember, when it asks for area, we use area. When it asks for circumference, when it asks for length, we use circumference. So always use the angle out of 360 degrees. We have 65 degrees out of a possible 360. And then for this problem, because it's asking for the area, we're going to do x over the area. The next problem is asking for the length, so we're going to do the exact same thing, but we're going to use the circumference. All right, let's cross multiply 360x and then 65 times 144 pi. So in my calculator, I'm just going to go 65 times 144 is 9360, and then I'm just going to put a pi on it. Divide by 360. So in the calculator, I'm just going to do 9360 divided by 360, which gives me 26, but don't forget that pi. 26 pi is the area of the sector. Check this out. We're going to do arc length. Same exact thing. We're just going to use the circumference instead. So I'm going to start out exactly the same way. I still have 65 degrees out of a possible 360. X out of, and then I'm just, instead of using area, I'm going to use circumference. So these problems are not super different. It's the same idea. We're still dealing with a 65-degree sector. We're either finding the area of it or the circumference of it. 360x. And then this time I'm going to put 65 times 24 in the calculator. 1560 pi. 1560 divided by 360 is 4.3 repeating. Don't forget the pi. 4.3 repeating pi. There wasn't a super easy way to put this in the calculator, in the answer box. So some people just put a bunch of 3s on it. Some people put 4 1/3 pi. That's probably the best way to do it accurately. But if you just put 4.333 pi or something like that, that's fine with me. It's not totally exact, but that's fine for right now. All right, the final question, it didn't come with a picture. You didn't even have to do the RDCA thing. It's this time we want to know the measure of the angle. We're not given the measure. So we're not going to put a number out of 360, but we're still going to do x out of 360 because this time we don't know the angle. So the angle measure is x. And then I had some questions about, well, where do I put the other things? Well, the 360 degrees is the whole circle. So we're going to put the area of the whole circle on the bottom with the 360. The x is the number of degrees in the sector. So we're going to put the 120 pi on top. So the way that I like to do these is I always set up my proportions as the sector out of the whole circle. And then no matter what I'm doing, that reminds me what to put where. It's not the only way to solve the problem, but it works every time. I'm going to cancel out the pi's. I'm not even going to use them in my cross multiplying. 576x. And then let's see what 360 times 120 is. 360 times 120 is 43,200. And then I just divide by 576. 75. So you might be wondering, why not 75 pi? Well, remember, it was the measure of the central angle at 75 degrees. Our pi's canceled out. So there isn't going to be a pi in your answer for that one. Let me know if you have any questions and give this a try on the retake. Bye.